Typically, I think a lot of founders are really smart about creating a new product, a new service. They're great at coding. And the notion they have to take government and politics seriously eludes a lot of them. I think as Uber and Airbnb and other companies have started to have more and more public fights, that notion has started to dawn on the Valley and people around tech. But it's still a relatively new concept. And I don't know, it's pretty rare that I meet with a founder and he or she says, my goal is to evade the law and just get away with stuff. Right. But it is frequent.
But that was the case in a certain couple of instances.
Yeah, I mean, I think what tends to happen is founder comes up with an idea. The law is silent as to it because if the bureaucrats could have thought of the idea, they'd be entrepreneurs and not bureaucrats. And then the question is, how do you regulate this thing?
But the problem, I would say, is that many of these entrepreneurs, the ones who have been more successful, the ones that we learn about, have been the ones who didn't blindly kind of do things that they didn't know weren't approved. They did things intentionally, quickly, trying to do things before the regulators could get wind of it. It was more of a beg forgiveness sort of model.
Yeah, I mean, the book gets into that a lot, kind of when do you ask for permission and when do you beg for forgiveness. And it's really context dependent, right? So I think about the early days at Uber, and we certainly took the beg for forgiveness approach and write about that a lot here.
Do you think that was the right approach?
We wouldn't exist today if we didn't take that approach, so yes, absolutely. But there are other places, like I'm an investor in FanDuel, and FanDuel is not going to start offering sports betting licenses in states around the country until we go and win them from each state and have the right to do it.
You know, at least in the Valley, and I'm curious if you think this is broader and related to entrepreneurs, just the idea of sort of a libertarian approach or take to business and to politics.
Yep.
Is that just Silicon Valley, or is that you think
it's more
you think
the
that
Valley.
Pervades the ethos of being an entrepreneur?
I think most entrepreneurs want to be left alone to just run their product and service without being told what they can and can't do. But if you're going to disrupt a regulated industry, A, the laws get in the way, and B, when you take market share away from someone, they don't thank you. They punch you in the nose as hard as they can. And I think one of the ways that startups get tripped up is not just in trying to evade or be sneaky, but they don't see what's coming at them. And then all of a sudden, the hotel lobby, the taxi cartel, the casino industry, whatever it is, that's really powerful, it's got a lot of money, is getting new regulations imposed on you, and then you can't compete.
You know, everyone talks about regulating big tech right now, whether it's Facebook or whether it's Amazon or whatnot. Are you of the view that that is actually going to come to pass?
Some of it will. I mean, what's interesting is a lot of those companies didn't disrupt an entrenched interest on the front end, so they were frictionless for a while. So there was no social media platform like Facebook, there was no search like Google, and so as a result, the kind of pressure that most startups face today, where they have to then figure out the regulatory framework, they didn't have to, and then they grew so big that all of a sudden government said, oh, what is this? We got to deal with this thing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think ultimately some form of antitrust is probably coming against some of these big tech companies.
One other related question, because we were actually talking about it when it comes to Benioff, who just bought Salesforce and Amazon. Do you think that some of these guys who now own media properties and are doing other things in the public eye, does that increase the risk for the company? I
mean, it depends, right? It seems to with Amazon, because Trump is obviously unhappy with his coverage by the Washington Post. I think in other cases, like Rupert Murdoch has wielded a lot of influence that has helped him politically quite a bit on things like avoiding antitrust issues because he owns all these media properties. Right. So it depends on how you use it.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks for having me.
Tusk. The book called The Fixer, Saving Startups from Death by Politics.